1988 witnessed the arrival of Coming to America, an American romantic film conceived by Eddie Murphy and helmed by John Landis. Among the cast were acclaimed actors and comedians, notably Arsenio Hall, James Earl Jones, John Amos, and various other talents. The movie revolved around Eddie Murphy's Akeem Jaffer, portraying the crown prince of the fictional African nation of Zamunda. Akeem embarks on a journey to the United States in search of a life partner. A television series pilot emerged in 1989 but failed to gain traction. Recently, the sequel, Coming Second America, hit screens, drawing massive attention and achieving substantial success. We'll explore some of the departed cast members from Coming to America in this video segment on our channel. Remember to engage with our content by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Madge Sinclair. Madge Sinclair, a prominent figure in the film Coming to America, passed away on December 20th, 1995, after a 13-year struggle with leukemia. Her introduction to the film industry came with her role as Mrs. Scott in Conrack, 1974, where she starred alongside Jon Voight. Her outstanding performance in this role earned her a nomination for the NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Actress in a Motion Picture. Sinclair's career reached new heights with her portrayal of Belle Reynolds in the 1977 ABC miniseries Roots, resulting in her first nomination for a Primetime Emmy Award. Following her success in Roots, she ventured into film with notable roles in Convoy, 1978, playing the widow woman and Cornbread Earl and Me. In the same year, she co-starred in the short-lived sitcom Grandpa Goes to Washington. The 1980s saw Sinclair as Nurse Ernestine Shoup in the series Trapper John, M.D., alongside Pernell Roberts. Her exceptional work on the show garnered 3 Emmy nominations. Commended by critic Donald Bogle for her unflinching commitment to her characters, regardless of the script's demands. In 1988, Sinclair graced the screen as Queen Aeolian in the Eddie Murphy comedy Coming to America, reuniting with her Roots co-star John Amos. This partnership extended to The Lion King, 1994, where Sinclair and James Earl Jones voiced the beloved roles of Sarabi and Mufasa, Simba's parents. The film became one of the highest-selling titles in home video history and marked her final film appearance. The collaboration continued in the series Gabriel's Fire, where Sinclair earned an Emmy in 1991 for Best Supporting Actress, famously surpassing the expected winner Diana Muldaur from L.A. Law. Sinclair's versatility also shone in The Orchid House, 1991, and Jonathan, the Boy Nobody Wanted, 1992, receiving critical acclaim for her supporting roles. In 1993, she took to the stage at London's Cochrane Theatre, featuring in The Lion, and directed by Horace Ove for the Talawa Theatre Company. Sinclair made a brief appearance in the short-lived ABC TV sitcom Me and the Boys, 1994, starring Steve Harvey. Notably, her portrayal as the captain of the USS Saratoga in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, made her the first female Starfleet starship captain to grace the Star Trek series. In a later role, Sinclair played Geordi LaForge's mother, captain of the USS Hera, in Star Trek: The Next Generation's episode Interface. Her final acting performance was in an episode of the sitcom Dream On, which aired just a month before her passing. Madge Sinclair was married to Royston Sinclair, a Jamaican police officer from 1956 to 1969, and had 2 sons with him. In 1982, she entered matrimony with actor Dean Compton, remaining married until her passing. Following her cremation, her ashes were scattered in her Jamaican hometown. Notably, she posthumously received the Order of Distinction, ranking as Commander, in recognition of her significant contributions to the performing arts from Jamaica's Prime Minister, P.J. Patterson, in October 2000. Calvin Lockhart. Calvin Lockhart, a fellow member of the cast from the movie Coming to America, has sadly departed. Lockhart's role in the film was Colonel Izzy Imani's father. Born in the Bahamas, Calvin Lockhart faced a multitude of challenges and opportunities during his life. He passed away at the age of 72 due to complications arising from a stroke. Lockhart, known for his remarkable acting skills and linguistic abilities encompassing French, German, Italian, and Spanish, often found himself taking roles that did not align with his aspirations. In the early 1970s, as the civil rights movement sought a more positive portrayal of African Americans in the media, Lockhart and others encountered a landscape primarily offering broad comedies and slick thrillers, commonly labeled as blaxploitation. These films, despite their initial promise, grew increasingly formulaic, centering on narratives involving private detectives versus the mob, or ambitious dealers climbing the ranks of pimpdom. According to Lockhart's widow, Jennifer Miles Lockhart, an interior designer from New York, Calvin yearned for dramatic roles that carried significance and a meaningful message. He aspired to perform in environments where the color of one's skin wouldn't be a determining factor, allowing his craft to shine at its full potential. Amidst the spectrum of blaxploitation movies, Calvin Lockhart featured in one of the eerily black-centered thrillers, Cotton Comes to Harlem, 1970, directed by Ossie Davis. His character, Reverend Deke O'Malley, was a cunning swindler masquerading as a preacher who swindled 87,000 tune from the unsuspecting followers for his fictitious Back to Africa movement. Calvin Lockhart portrayed suave gangsters, Silky Slim and Biggie Smalls, in Sidney Poitier's Uptown Saturday Night, 1974, and Let's Do It Again, 1975. In Melinda, 1972, directed by Hugh Robertson and edited by the first African-American editor nominated for an Oscar, Lockhart played a superhero, an egotistical disc jockey seeking vengeance against the mobsters who took his girlfriend's life. During the same period, Calvin Lockhart received an invitation to join the Royal Shakespeare Company at Stratford-upon-Avon. He featured in various plays, including a notable performance as Aaron the Moor in Buzz Goodbody's rendition of Titus Andronicus. His portrayal included the powerful question, "Is black so base a hue?" followed by a compelling defense of his own color. Before this, Lockhart had spent almost 5 years in England, 1965-1970, participating in TV dramas and British films, notably in Joanna, 1968, directed by Mike Sarn and co-starring Donald Sutherland. Lockhart was one of the first actors to challenge cinematic taboos with a black-white love scene. However, the early 70s also brought Lockhart to the United States to work on projects such as Cotton Comes to Harlem, 1970, and Halls of Anger, 1970. While Cotton Comes to Harlem dealt with issues like national integration and racism, Halls of Anger depicted an all-black school adjusting to the arrival of 60 white students due to integration policies. In this film, Lockhart portrayed a teacher who resolved the school's racial tensions through a liberal approach. Despite the film's meaningful theme, Lockhart often expressed his displeasure during its production and walked off the set more than once. Calvin Lockhart, originally named Bert Cooper, ventured from the Bahamas to New York at the age of 19 to study engineering. However, his involvement in a YMCA theater group and his study under the legendary drama coach Uta Hagen led him into the world of acting. He made his Broadway debut in Shalagh Delaney's A Taste of Honey, taking over the role of a sailor involved with a white girl, portrayed by Joan Plowright. His journey between Broadway and the Royal Shakespeare Company included a heart attack due to a personal tragedy, but Lockhart remained dedicated to his craft. He made appearances in various roles, including a 7-episode stint as Jonathan Lake in TV's Dynasty, 1985-86, and a role as the leader of a Jamaican voodoo gang in Predator 2, 1990. Additionally, he played minor roles in David Lynch's Wild at Heart, 1990, and Twin Peaks, 1992. In 1979, Calvin met Jennifer Miles in New York, and in 1981, they welcomed a son. Their union culminated in marriage in 2006. He is survived by Jennifer as well as his other 2 sons and a daughter, Don Ameche. Don Ameche made a cameo appearance as Mortimer Duke. He passed away on December 6, 1993, at his son Don Jr.'s residence in Scottsdale, Arizona, succumbing to prostate cancer at the age of 85. Born as Dominic Felix Amici on May 31, 1908, in Kenosha, Wisconsin, Don Ameche's heritage included a father, Felice Amici, who was a bartender from Montemonaco, Ascoli Piceno, Marche, Italy, and a mother, Barbara Etta Hertel, with Scottish, Irish, and German roots. He was one of 8 siblings, with brothers Umberto, Bert, James, Jim Ameche, and Louis, and sisters Elizabeth, Catherine, Mary, and Anna. Ameche's educational journey led him through Marquette University, Loras College, and the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where his cousin Alan Ameche made a name for himself in football and even secured the Heisman Trophy in 1954. Don Ameche's involvement in college dramatics at the University of Wisconsin served as a stepping stone to his acting career. He was thrust into the world of acting when he filled in for a missing lead actor in a stock company production of Excess Baggage. This unplanned experience sparked his interest, leading to a juvenile lead role in Jerry for Short in New York and a subsequent vaudeville tour alongside Texas Guinan. However, he eventually parted ways with the act due to being perceived as too stiff. After this chapter, Ameche relocated to Chicago and began his radio career in 1930 on the program Empire Builders, broadcast from the Merchandise Mart. By 1932, he was the leading man in 2 other Chicago-based shows: the dramatic anthology First Nighter and Betty and Bob, which many consider a precursor to the soap opera genre. Beyond his early radio work, Don Ameche achieved recognition and success in the late 1940s, notably through his role opposite Frances Langford in The Bickersons, a Philip Rapp radio comedy series portraying a contentious married couple. The show's journey commenced on NBC in 1946 before moving to CBS in the following year. Additionally, Ameche hosted his own program, The Old Gold Don Ameche Show, on NBC Red during the early 1940s. In 1950, Ameche became the star of Holiday Hotel on ABC TV. His presence graced the screens until 1970, after which he shifted his focus to television and the stage. It was only after 13 years that he made a triumphant return to films, notably in Trading Places, 1983, a role he was handpicked for by director John Landis, who sought an actor from the 1930s and 1940s who hadn't portrayed many villainous characters. Ameche's subsequent roles in Cocoon, 1985, Harry and the Hendersons, 1987, Coming to America, 1988, and Cocoon: The Return, 1988, showcased his versatility. Notably, he earned an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his performance in Cocoon. Ameche's acting journey continued with Things Change, 1988, written by David Mamet and Shel Silverstein, where he displayed comic aplomb according to the New York Times. Subsequent credits included an appearance in The Golden Girls, 1990, and roles in films such as Oscar, 1991, Folks, 1992, and as the voice of Shadow in Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey, 1993. His final film, Corrina, Corrina, 1994, was released posthumously. Outside the world of entertainment, Don Ameche played a pivotal role in the All-America Football Conference as one of the owners of the Los Angeles Dons, a team that competed with the National Football League alongside Bing Crosby and Bob Hope. He helped form the ownership group the year before the league's inception, initially serving as team president. Ameche shared his life with Honore Prendergast, whom he married in 1932, until her passing in 1986. They had 6 children, including their son, Ron Ameche, who owned the restaurant Ameche's Pumpernickel in Coralville, Iowa. Additionally, they had two daughters, Connie and Bonnie. Jim Amech, Don Amech's younger brother and a well-known actor, passed away in 1983 at the age of 67. A devout Roman Catholic, Don Amech was a Republican and actively supported Thomas Dewey in the 1944 United States presidential election and Dwight Eisenhower during the 1952 presidential election. Ralph Bellamy. Rexford Bellamy made a brief appearance as Randolph Duke. He passed away on November 29, 1991, at St. John's Health Center in Santa Monica, California, after battling a lung ailment. He was 87 years old. Bellamy's journey in the film industry commenced with The Secret Six, 1931, where he shared the screen with Wallace Beery, Jean Harlow, and Clark Gable. By the close of 1933, he had already appeared in 22 films, showcasing his talent in productions like Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, 1932, and landing the second lead in the action film Picture Snatcher, alongside James Cagney, 1933. His artistry continued with 7 more films in 1934, including Woman in the Dark, a film based on a Dashiell Hammett story, where Bellamy played the lead role second only to Fay Wray. He received an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor for his performance in The Awful Truth, 1937, with Irene Dunne and Cary Grant. His repertoire expanded further with a similar role in His Girl Friday, 1940, where he portrayed a naive boyfriend vying with Grant's sophisticated character. Though he experienced recognition, Bellamy's journey faced various shifts, prompting a return to the stage in the 1950s. His time off screen included appearances in films such as Dance, Girl, Dance, 1940, alongside Maureen O'Hara and Lucille Ball, and the horror classic The Wolf Man, 1941, with Lon Chaney Jr. and Evelyn Ankers. On Broadway, Bellamy stepped into the role of Franklin Delano Roosevelt in Sunrise at Campobello, clinching a Tony Award in 1957. He later reprised this role in the film version in 1960. Bellamy remained engaged in various roles on television, securing spots in different series, including The Most Deadly Gamey in 1970 and Hunter in 1977. His portrayal of Adlai Stevenson in the TV movie The Missiles of October, 1974, centered around the Cuban missile crisis, stands among his multifaceted contributions. Despite the transformations in his career, Bellamy's professional commitment remained unwavering. He served 4 terms as the president of Actors Equity from 1952 to 1964 and continued to explore diverse roles, including that of Franklin D. Roosevelt in The Winds of War, 1983. His return to the spotlight came through an Emmy Award nomination for the miniseries, a milestone that led to his role as Randolph Duke, a cunning millionaire commodities trader in Trading Places, 1983. Collaborating once more with Eddie Murphy, he graced the film Coming to America, 1988, with a brief cameo alongside Don Amech, reprising their roles as the Duke brothers. Rexford Bellamy navigated 4 marriages throughout his life. His initial marriage was to Alice Delbridge, 1927-1930, followed by Catherine Willard, 1931-1945. Later, he married organist Ethel Smith, 1945-1947, an event reported by Time magazine as the union of the stage and screen actor and the renowned cinema electric organist. Bellamy's 4th and final marriage was to Alice Murphy, 1949-1991, lasting until his passing. A Democrat by affiliation, Bellamy was present at the 1960 Democratic National Convention in Los Angeles. Helen Hanft. Helen Hanft portrayed the character of a subway lady. She passed away in Manhattan on May 30, 2013, due to complications following intestinal surgery. Hanft's roots trace back to the Bronx, where she was the eldest among 3 daughters born to Esther and Benjamin Hanft. Her father held a prominent role as a public relations executive for various national Jewish organizations. Encouraged by her father, Hanft auditioned for the High School of Performing Arts, which is now part of Fiorello H. LaGuardia High School of Music and Art and Performing Arts, and successfully gained admission. Her journey in the world of theater commenced in the early 1960s within the experimental theater movement, gracing off-Broadway stages such as La Mama Experimental Theater Club and Café Kino. Renowned for her comedic prowess, she swiftly earned the moniker the Ethel Merman of off-Broadway. Hannaford specialized in portraying eccentric and often audacious characters and featured prominently in numerous plays written by Tom Eyen. Her talents extended to the world of cinema, with cameo roles in Woody Allen's films, including Manhattan, Stardust Memories, The Purple Rose of Cairo, and Allen's segment in New York Stories. Paul Mazursky was also among her admirers, casting her in Next Stop Greenwich Village and Willie Emp Phil. Helen Hannaford's diverse filmography encompassed appearances in Arthur, Honky Tonk Freeway, Moonstruck, License to Drive, Coming to America, and Used People. Later in her career, she made guest appearances on episodes of Law and Order and continued to grace the New York City stage. Helen Hannaford was preceded in death by her husband, William Landers, and her younger sister, Alice, but is survived by her sister, Sarah Kama. While we close this chapter, let's carry these moments forward, letting the spirit of this adventure inspire our next explorations and remain a part of our lives. It's not just about the places we visit, but the connections we make, the stories we collect, and the joy we carry with us. Thank you for joining us on this remarkable voyage. Your support and enthusiasm have made this journey all the more special. Until next time, travel passionately, embrace the world, and keep exploring.